Hello everyone, it's one of your favorite sleepy librarians here, and you are looking at Miss Hilary Solomon, a bubbly bibliophile with a penchant for biographies. This is a listener, a learner, a lifetime crafter. This is someone who yearns to explore every facet of the world through words, who, at this very moment, has stumbled upon an unusual world. This is a world where time and space are confounding. This is the Twilight Zone. I have no idea who that was, but let's talk about my 10 favorite Twilight Zone episodes. These are not in any particular order. Before we get started, of course, I have to talk about my drink of the day, which is a cream soda. Cream sodas are my favorite sodas. I don't really love soda, but I do love a cream soda. First, we have The Hitchhiker from 1960. This episode follows a woman named Nan, and she is driving across the country, and she is trying to evade this really grungy looking man. She actually has some kind of choice words for his looks in the episode. I love this episode because it is so suspenseful, and there's really no way to know whether or not this man is evil or good. And it was really the first episode that made me realize this is what the Twilight Zone is all about. Like, it feels quintessentially a Twilight Zone episode. This is what people think about when they think about the Twilight Zone. And I love it. Next, we have The After Hours from 1960. This episode follows a woman named Marcia as she explores a very odd department store. She goes to buy a thimble, and people are just acting strange. People are telling her that there is no ninth floor. She doesn't know what's going on. And if you haven't seen the episode, I'm not going to tell you what's going on, but it was very cool. It was very good. Another episode that really gets to the heart of confusion and intrigue that the Twilight Zone is best known for. And this is really an aside, but when I was younger, I used to talk to mannequins a lot, and that would kind of freak my mom out, so I felt like I could kind of relate to this episode in a way. The third episode is The Howling Man from 1960. I like this episode because of its concept, not necessarily because of its execution. We are following a man, and he has gotten lost in a torrential storm. He wanders upon a monastery. A whole bunch of Moses-looking white men are walking around with ginormous canes, and those are the things that people use for sheep. I don't remember the name for it. The man hears a strange howling, and he's like, what's going on with the howling? Me personally, if I was in a strange monastery and I heard howling coming from a cell downstairs, I wouldn't go towards that, but that's just me. You know, I don't make for good television. I loved the idea. Spoilers, there will be some spoilers in this. Some of the episodes I think are really good to watch without the spoilers, but some of them I think it's really important for me to tell you what's going on, because that's how I can explain why I like the episode. The Howling Man is an episode about some monks who have imprisoned the devil. Which is just a wild concept to me. How did they get the devil imprisoned? I don't know. It reminds me of the song The Devil Went Down to Georgia. And I love that song. And I love this episode. It's just wild. It's a really wild episode. I don't like the transformation that the devil goes through that felt very bigoted, but I did quite like the concept of the episode. Our fourth episode is The Odyssey of Flight 33 from 1961. Now, I'm not talking about Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, I'm talking about the Odyssey, where a flight 33 to be exact, is traveling like normal planes do, and all of a sudden people are looking out the window and they're like, what's going on out there? They're flying through time. They've warped. They've done the time warp. It's combining so many things. The Odyssey, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Airplane. No, the episode does not have any of those vibes. It's really just people who are on a plane and they have suddenly found themselves in a completely different time. And they keep flying and they keep flying through different times. It is so confusing. It's really one of those, wouldn't it be wild if this happened type of episodes? And I love those Twilight Zone episodes. I love this episode for a few reasons. The characters are so fun. The cockpit is just fascinating. There are so many people in the cockpit. I think there's maybe 6 to 8 people. I don't know why. My mom likes to say that one of them is sitting in a dining room chair because he's sitting in a completely different chair than the rest of them. So I don't know why. It's a real time capsule of an episode. And guys, there are dinosaurs in it. So keep your eye out for that one. It's a fun episode. It's a silly one. It's one of those, let's do a silly one, and I love it. Our fifth episode is The Silence from 1961. My mom does not like this episode at all because she finds it to be very cruel. I love this episode because it is a hoot and a half for me. I laugh at it. I think it's great. We see Mr. Tennyson, who is a member of a gentleman's club, not that kind of gentleman's club, you know, just one of those posh, we're all sitting around drinking dark liquor and talk about the fact that we have a whole bunch of money. Mr. Tennyson has one fatal flaw, which is that he never shuts up. He's just talking all the time. And people have gotten really tired of it. So one of the other club members decides to make a bet with him. He says, I bet that you cannot stay silent for an entire year. And Mr. Tennyson, who has unfortunately fallen on hard times because of his wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife, he really needs money. And so he says, absolutely, I'll take this bet. A year goes by. They've locked him up in a room in the gentleman's club that's made of glass so that they can see him, and they put microphones inside so that they can hear just in case he speaks. But he can write stuff down and stuff like that. Once the year goes by, Mr. Tennyson steps out and he's like, pantomiming that he wants his money. And then the other man has to say, I'm sorry, man, I don't have it. I didn't think you would make it, and I simply don't have the money. And that other guy was kicked out of the gentleman's club, and then it is revealed that Mr. Tennyson freaking got a surgery to cut his vocal cords. He cut his vocal cords, permanent, in order to win what is equivalent to $5 million. Now, I would do a lot of stuff for $5 million, but permanently cutting my vocal cords, not one of them. So now Mr. Tennyson is sad, still broke, and can't speak. What? Like, it's just, it was such a ridiculous move on his part. And that really just shows his mindset, which is, I know that I can't win, so I'm going to ensure that I do win. And then just, live the rest of my life silently? That just didn't make sense. He wasn't making sense. And I think he got what was coming to him. Because don't cut your vocal cords. That was silly. He was being silly. And so I laugh at his silliness. The sixth episode is A Piano in the House from 1962, and this episode follows Mr. Fitzgerald Fortune as he is shopping for a birthday present for his wife. Mr. Fitzgerald Fortune is a very distinguished looking older gentleman, and he goes to this little eclectic shop and he sees a piano that plays itself. And he's like, oh, this is perfect. You know, my wife wants to start piano lessons, but I know that she wouldn't be any good at it, so I'm going to buy her a piano that plays itself so that she doesn't even have to worry about any of those dreadful piano lessons. So we already see what he's like. A terrible person who's trash and really shouldn't be married to this lady. And I feel very sorry for everyone around him. And then he finds out that the piano has a bit of magic to it because it can play music that then affects people's moods. And he buys it and he takes it home and then he starts playing with people's emotions. And then he kind of gets what's coming to him at the end. I love this episode because I love the music. And I love to see how different musical pieces affect people. It's really lovely. Yeah, it's an overall beautiful episode. I mean, we follow a really terrible guy for a good chunk of the episode, but I don't know, it's still very lovely. It's fun. It's a little fun romp of an episode. Now, one thing that did throw me for a loop in this episode was the fact that Mr. Fortune was balding. We meet him and he has this fedora on, and I thought he was going to have luscious hair, kind of like Luke Evans in Dracula Untold, but he's balding. And I really wish that he would just go bald or get a hair transplant or put on a little front piece, you know, a little wig. But that really tells you what kind of person he is. Like, he really thinks that he can just get away with anything. He thinks I can get away with balding like this. No, you can't. And he doesn't get away with anything. Okay? He does not get away with everything. His retribution comes at him in the end. So, on to episode 7, which is Miniature from 1963. Poor Charlie. This episode follows Charlie Parks. He is a very sweet man, but he is really struggling to fit in with anybody. Everyone finds him to be weird. They feel like he works too hard and that he's a goody two-shoes and that he's a suck-up and that he doesn't talk to women, and he's just odd. You know, he's the belle of the town, but they don't think that he's really hot. He's struggling. You know, I think by today's standards, we would say that he's neurodivergent. And one day he decides to go to the museum and he sees this little miniature dollhouse and he goes, oh, you know, that looks cool. Wandering over, looking at it. And there's a lady inside and she's doing a whole bunch of movement. And it's so amazing and she's fascinating, and guys, he just falls in love. Oh, what can I say? He fell in love. And everyone is trying to do everything in their power to keep Charlie from being with the woman that he loves. And I love the episode. I think it's great. It really shows that society can just be so cruel, and it's always trying to get in between people's consensual love. And everyone just needs to leave Charlie the heck alone. There is a happy ending, and that makes me happy, and I love that, and I'm very happy for Charlie, and he deserves happiness, and I'm glad that he found happiness, and everyone else can kick rocks. Episode 8 is so good. I would say that it might be my favorite episode. It's certainly tied for my favorite episode. Ring-a-Ding Girl from 1963. We follow very famous actress Bunny Blake as she is going back to her little hometown to visit family. She visits her sister and her nephew, and Bunny has this ring, and it's kind of giving her visions, and I don't want to spoil this episode because I love it so much and I think that you should watch it. If you haven't watched it already. But the ring is giving her visions, and she has premonitions that something really bad is going to happen to the town. And it's really up to Bunny to save everyone in the town. And she does some things that some people would consider pretty selfish, but then once you find out what happens, and once you learn why Bunny did what she did and all that she sacrificed in order to save everyone in her town, you just can't help but feeling happy and hopeful. And it's such an amazing episode, and oh my gosh, I love it so much. I love it so much. I cry most of the time when I watch it, just because it's just so lovely. She loves everyone so much. Oh my god. Anyway, she loves them so much. She's willing to do a lot for them, and despite being famous and having the ability to literally never talk to any of these people again, and she really doesn't have to save anybody, she doesn't have to do anything for any of them, she has so much love and compassion for her friends and neighbors and her family, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful episode. Watch it. I decided in my script I had spoilers. I decided right now to not spoil this so that you can watch it if you haven't. Please, if you don't watch any of these other episodes, please watch this one. It's good. Our 9th episode is a very popular one, and you have probably heard about it if you've heard about the Twilight Zone. It's The Masks from 1964. This episode follows a family, a pretty terrible one. We have the old patriarch, Jason Foster, and he has a daughter, and she has a husband, and they have 2 adult children. And Jason is not happy with his daughter and her husband and their kids. They're greedy, selfish, self-centered, lying, cheating, stealing, at times violent people. And he knows that they're just after his money, and he's dying, and he knows that. But it's Mardi Gras, and he's invited them all down to his mansion to spend one last night with them. And he tells them, I've had these masks especially made for us, and what you have to do is put these masks on, keep them on, until it strikes midnight, and then you can get all my money. And they're like, oh no, we're not here for your money. We're not here for your money. But I will put this mask on, and I will try to keep it on all night. And they're, as the night goes on, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can keep the mask on. I don't know. And then they're reminding each other, but think of the money. But think of the money. So they keep it on. Midnight strikes. And then they finally take off the masks. And then their true nature is revealed. And this is a great episode. I mean, it's really popular. It shows the more moral side of the Twilight Zone. I feel like Twilight Zone episodes can be kind of categorized in 3 types. There are moral tales, there are, let's, do a fun one. And then there are really out there sci-fi ones, like really strange, sort of, what if the future was kind of like this? And this is a moral one. It's your true nature will sometimes reflect on the outside, and sometimes you need a little help from some people who know a little Caribbean magic. It's a good episode, and it's very popular for a good reason. Our final episode is very fitting because it's actually the last episode that was aired on the original Twilight Zone series, The Bewitching Pool from 1964. This episode follows 2 kids, Jeb and Sport. Wild names. And I'm assuming Jeb is short for Jebediah, but what is Sport? I don't know. I don't know, guys. Okay, we have to move on. I'm sorry. Okay, it follows Jeb and Sport, two very sweet children, and they have terrible, awful, cranky, mean parents. Their parents fight with each other all the time, and they're like, you kids are just no good, even though their kids aren't doing anything wrong. And it's wild. One day, Jeb and Sport are out by the pool, and a kid pops up out of the pool and is like, hey y'all, follow me into the pool. And so, being curious children, they do. And then they swim, they pop up. They're in a completely other world. There are a whole bunch of kids out here. And there's a little house that's not their home. They go inside and they meet Auntie. Oh my gosh, well, what a sweet lady. She's a sweetie pie. And she's just here to take care of children who come from difficult households or who don't have a home anymore. And Jeb and Sport are like, oh, well, that's sweet, but that's not us. So we kind of have to be heading back. And they go back to their homes, but Aunt T tells them before they go, if you leave, you can't come back. And so that was really hard. But they decide to go back home. They go back home. They are with their parents, and their parents say, hey, we're getting a divorce. And the children are like, it's because of us. It's because of the way we've been acting. We promise we'll be better. And the parents are saying, no, it's not because of you. It's just because we don't love each other anymore. And we actually stayed together this long because we had you two kids. But now you have to choose. Do you want to live with your pa or your ma? And it's a really awful scene, and I hated it because that's not a good way to show a divorce, as someone who comes from divorced parents. And the children have decided this is all too much. Our parents are mean and they hate each other, and it seems like at many times they hate us as well. So we're just gonna jump in the pool and we're gonna try to go back to Auntie's. And they do. Yay! And they live happily ever after. Yay! I love this episode. This is the other episode that's tied for first. It's like The Bewitching Pool and Ring-a-Ding Girl. They both touch very soft places of my heart. I love The Bewitching Pool so much because I know so many people in my life who've had really hard lives, who have lived and experienced things that children shouldn't have had to deal with. And it's lovely to watch that Twilight Zone episode and think, there's an Aunt T out there for everybody. You know, if you had a really hard childhood growing up, just know that there's an Aunt T out there somewhere for you. And if you are a child and you are in a rough situation, just know that there is an adult who loves and cares about you deeply and wants the best for you. And I love that episode for that. That's just, it's beautiful. Well, this was a fun one. Thank you for joining me on our quick trip into the Twilight Zone. And I hope to see you next time. Stay kind, everyone. Bye.